Good evening. It is Thursday, October 9th, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about in regards to Illinois 19, Circuit 19 and my case.
Yeah, so it's definitely been a interesting couple weeks here related to Heather's case. There was ultimately a hearing yesterday, so I'm going to explain some of that. But as a third-party outsider looking in, there was a lot of sketchy stuff that was being done by Illinois Circuit 19 leading up to this, and that gave both me and Heather a lot of concerns. Basically, from the moment Heather started refiling a few things in Illinois, the judges and the clerks of the court have not been following normal procedure. So this goes all the way back to June. Heather had actually filed to just get a copy of her, like a registered, certified copy of her docket from her Illinois case. Heather filed a fee waiver notice with it because at the time Heather wasn't even working. And it was scheduled with some random judge to have a hearing. Now, Heather has done fee waivers in Illinois Circuit 19 before.
It wasn't scheduled.
No, that's right. Sorry.
That's what made it so weird.
Yeah, that's right.
It was supposed to be a scheduled hearing.
Heather filed the paperwork through the portal, and then within 24 hours, or not even 24 hours, like 12 hours.
Less than 24 hours later, I get a random
email from some judicial assistant or clerk in the court's office that says, you need to appear via Zoom tomorrow morning.
Yep, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m.
And this was the next morning at 9 a.m. was the day we were leaving to go out of town for a work trip.
Yep, your 4-day summer regional on the other side of the state.
So, it caught us off guard because we weren't expecting to hear anything for a couple weeks. But we got together, got as best we could, signed in on Zoom. And again, it was just some judge who's never been part of any of Heather's cases. Now, the normal procedure, because Heather's done it before, went filing fee waivers for other stuff in Illinois Circuit 19. It's a standard form that you fill out, and they have to have, a judge has to make a ruling on it. But there's a standard set of questions that they ask, like, are you employed? Do you have money? Blah, 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 blah. Well, this judge proceeded to interrogate and berate Heather.
They interrogated me for 45 minutes.
45 minutes. And then at some point, the judge realized that Heather wasn't sitting alone in her room. Now, mind you, it was Zoom, so Heather had a digital background up. And it was probably something like I was sitting next to Heather, rubbing her shoulder like this, trying to help her stay calm.
This woman was putting me in a freaking panic attack with
the judge says,
aggressive.
Is there somebody there with you? I'm like, yeah. So Heather explains, yeah, her fiance is there next to her. So the judge is like, we have to be able to see everybody. Okay, that's weird, but whatever. So take off the digital Zoom and you just see me sitting there. Well, then the judge proceeds to question me about my income.
We're not married.
We're not married,
Yet. We're not married yet. We treat each other like we're married. Yeah, we definitely behave like we're married. But legally speaking, we are not married yet.
More often than not, we refer to each other as husband and wife.
Yeah.
But
legally, they can't be looking at his financial income.
So, it ended. Heather basically just gave up and signed off. Ended the Zoom
because that woman had me in a full panic attack.
But again, it was so far off the normal procedure. So that was back in June.
Yep.
That was before we knew we were filing the most recent action in Illinois.
Yeah, at that point we were just trying to get my Illinois docket for my first appellant case here in Florida.
Yeah, just to have an official record.
And a certified copy of it. Yep.
So then back in, was it July?
July 17th. Well, it was about a week before that I originally filed the petition for relief. They kept kicking it back every single day, rejecting it for something new every day.
Here's the fun part. So we'll just remember they spent a week rejecting Heather's stuff because of all these little bits and pieces of things that they deemed were not attached to it. So when we get to what we got today, just remember that fact. So after a week, finally get the petition for relief filed in Illinois Circuit 19, and then we wait. And wait. And eventually, it did get a initial court date.
Well, so how Illinois works is you can't file it until you have a court date scheduled.
They waste so much goddamn time
Taxpayer
and
money.
energy and sanity.
They waste an insane amount of taxpayer money.
You have to motion for permission to ask for a court date. Mm-hmm. Then once you get a court date, that first court date is actually just for you to present, basically tell the judge you filed something. Mm-hmm. Because apparently the judges can't read in Illinois.
So that was the original August 12th date.
So the August 12th hearing was a presentment, as they call it. So Heather basically told the judge, I'm here for presentment on my petition for relief. And that was the hearing where all of a sudden Justin supposedly had an attorney. Mind you, even as of today,
it's still not in my docket.
There is no notice of appearance filed into the current case in Heather's docket.
And
now,
how is that going to be relevant to our next step in this?
Well, the next step is, I don't want to get ahead of myself because we're going to get into it. But, when you're filing an appeal and you send over the record of appeal, which is the docket, the appeals court is going to see there is no notice of appearance for this attorney that has been filing stuff into the case.
Right.
Now, the judge and the other attorney are sitting there saying, well, he filed into Heather's divorce case and the cases are linked, so it's all good.
Nope.
But it's not good.
We're going to show you guys on the screen. We're going to show you my Illinois website internal login.
So that was, again, adding up all the sketchy stuff. The fact that the judge has completely ignored Heather's notice that the other attorney has not filed a notice of appearance. Heather had to file a notice of appearance for herself.
Yep, even pro se, you still have to file a notice of appearance.
So there's a notice of appearance in Heather's current case for herself, but not for any other attorneys.
Because I'm doing everything legally.
So then that gets us basically we got past that first presentment hearing, and they scheduled it was more like a status conference hearing for September 2nd.
Yeah, September 2nd was really just status.
That was because Justin's attorney had filed a motion to dismiss. Mm-hmm. So it was basically because he filed the motion to dismiss, September, they said, okay, you filed the motion for dismiss, let's set a hearing date. So then that hearing date got set for October 8th.
Yep, yesterday.
Now, a couple things about the date of October 8th. October 8th, if you read the description of this video, is the 5-year anniversary from when Heather's 4 children were literally ripped out of her arms.
5 p.m. Central Time, October 8th of 2020 at the Kitty Cottage Daycare in Fox Lake, Illinois.
Now,
I will never, ever forget that day.
That was the start of this ongoing 5+ year nightmare that doesn't ever seem to have an end in sight.
They don't want it to have an end in sight. They're trying to keep my children from me illegally.
If you can imagine yesterday being the 5-year anniversary and then getting the hearing scheduled for that same day. And this is in 5 years, this was Heather's first time where she could directly address the Illinois Circuit 19 Family Court for what they did.
Yeah.
And so the days, okay, I'm getting a little ahead of myself because we got into yesterday, but before yesterday, so after the September 2nd hearing, where the judge said Heather and Justin could both appear via Zoom, at some point, and we don't really know when, because the document is time-stamped for like 3 p.m. September 2nd, but it was not filed or served to Heather until September, 28th?
You're talking about
the order demanding you to be in person.
So that wasn't technically ever served to me. It was emailed to me in a blank email, completely blank. No subject line, no body to the email.
Now here's
just
the thing.
A blank email from Iris Salcido.
Every state has rules and requirements
of how things are to be served.
It's called due process. Like this is basic constitution.
There is none. There is no due process in family court.
And I'll tell you a couple things I heard in the hearing yesterday that just blew my mind. And these are things like words coming out of this judge's mouth. Mm-hmm. So ultimately, there was this conflicting order that says Heather now has to be in person because the court just decided it because for whatever reason, and they don't ever
21
specify.
days later.
They don't ever specify. So Heather was basically given like 1 week notice that you have to arrange transportation, fly up to Chicago, and appear in person.
September 23rd.
Where was I September 23rd?
In the hospital for over a week at that point.
Nearly died.
Yeah.
From malnutrition and dehydration.
Pretty much what happened to me in 2009 happened to you just a few weeks ago.
Currently, right now, I'm held together with more than a dozen staples.
Yeah.
Right down the middle.
Yeah.
So,
and I feel like this was completely intentional because we all know that my stalkers, Mary Serlick and Laura Stiles, are watching me like hawks. We know that they're reaching out to everyone I'm involved with in the movements and trying to alienate the people against me.
Because when people get these messages,
they tell me.
They email, they message Heather and they're like, I just got this message from this person, this Laura person. What is this about?
What's going on? Yeah. I mean, you've been witnessing this for several years now. This has been going on for 5 years. So what I think happened is Mary Serlick contacted Michael G. Nurheim and said, Heather's fiance, her biggest supporter who has been helping her with all this, is in the hospital. Maybe you should order her in person.
Yeah. So definitely sketchy. And, really it got us. Yeah, I mean, there's concern because you go from the judge saying, okay, you can appear, via Zoom. And then all of a sudden, out of the blue, with no explanation.
No reasoning.
It's, oh, no, you have to be in person. Mm-hmm. And then you're wondering, well, why? What are they planning on doing if you show up in person?
Exactly.
So at that point, we actually, I have a cousin that lives in Chicago. He was a paralegal until he retired. His wife was a very high profile corporate attorney. Yep. So I reached out to my cousin and asked him if they had anybody that they knew or could recommend for family law up in the area. And he did give us a name. It was basically one of his friends who had some of recommendation. So we did reach out to that attorney. I had about an hour long conversation with that attorney, sort of going over the case. And we were, he told us what his retainer was, which we could have paid. But unfortunately, he was not going to be available himself to be in person for the hearing. So he was going to have to request via Zoom, and there was no guarantee that the judge would have allowed him to be via Zoom. So we ended up ultimately making this decision that we were not going to be traveling to Chicago, but we would try to log in to the Zoom and see if they would allow Heather to participate via Zoom, because Heather actually filed a motion for clarification
an emergency motion for clarification
to ask the judge to explain, or pick one of the orders, in person or via Zoom, because they're conflicting, and we'll show you them.
And we know she got them because she responded to one of the other pieces in that exact same envelope.
Which was the fee waiver.
The fee waiver. So she responded to the fee waiver, but completely ignored all the other filings that were included in that envelope.
So comes to yesterday morning. Now, the night before, just something to note, Heather, if you've been following anything, when Heather has these hearings, she does post Facebook events. She asks people to try to log in and court watch for her. Mm-hmm. So she posted the event Friday night. She put the Zoom link in there. The Zoom link's public. And first thing yesterday morning, one of our friends messages Heather, hey, I don't think this is the right Zoom link. And we go, Heather checks the clerk of the judge's website, and realized they changed overnight. They changed the Zoom link
because I had created that in the evening the night before. And normally I create these Facebook events for court watching well in advance, with Pete being in the hospital, me having so many trainings at work as a new teacher, and then I had a group project due for my MBA program. I'm doing a lot right now. I'm definitely multitasking to the extreme. So I just completely kind of forgot about making that Facebook event earlier than one night before. So I literally went on the public website, the Illinois Zoom hearings website. You click on your courtroom, and then it brings up the schedule for that day. So I had copied and pasted the Zoom information into my Facebook event. And then a friend of mine, like he said, messaged me that morning and said, hey, I'm trying to get in and it's not letting me in. I don't think this is correct. So I go back to that same website and sure as shit, the link was changed. So they absolutely know that I am exposing things through these Zooms. And they are absolutely screwing with the whole situation.
Anyways, you correct the Zoom link in your Facebook post, and then you try to log in yourself.
Yep.
And, we have a security camera in the office. It just records the office all the time anyways. So we pulled the video from it. Mm-hmm. And so you can see us there sitting and waiting. We put it up. We have a big screen TV in the office there connected to both our computers. So we put it up there. So... on the big screen, so you can see.
It is all
it's
documented.
It's just sitting in a Zoom waiting room with the thing spinning, just waiting.
And I was
for
narrating the whole time. It's now 10:50. So
over an hour.
Right. So 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So in the documentation, I'm literally like, it's now 10:15. As you can see, I'm still waiting. It is now 10:30. As you can see, I'm still waiting. It is now 10:45. It is now 11.
So
finally getting let in at like 11:15, 10:15 Central Time.
And that's after you actually logged out of Zoom completely and then re-logged in. Mm-hmm. So they ultimately then they called a couple other cases before you, which there was a couple odd things that we noted. One of the cases before you,
sworn in.
Yeah, it's weird, really weird because in the 4 or 5 other Zoom hearings with the Illinois Circuit 19,
never been sworn in.
Never, not once. Even half of the ones down here in Florida, you haven't been sworn in.
Upchurch never swore me in either. I even called her out on like, why aren't you swearing me in? Isn't that like the golden rule to swear someone in?
And we just lost our light. We have to recharge that one.
Yeah,
so that was weird. We saw that. Anyways, ultimately they then eventually call Heather's case. Now Justin's attorney was still there because he was representing some other clients as well.
And his client was sworn in.
His other client was sworn in. So,
and that's on the recording too.
Just an odd thing. So,
I still need to edit that entire video to get other citizens out of it.
So ultimately, they called Heather's case and start questioning Heather on why she's not there. So Heather's trying to explain, but they're not really giving her a chance. The judge keeps muting her,
muting me,
so
cutting
Heather
me off.
tries to, Heather will unmute. Because these people, look, Zoom has been around for 5 years at least now, that everybody's been using it. There are host tools. There's literally, if you're the host, there is a toolbar menu. You click on it. It's all of the host tools. One of the options is you do not allow participants to unmute themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
it's
they know that.
It's not that hard.
They know that.
This is basic stuff. So if you're going to use the program.
That is how they kidnapped my children. Because when all of this was happening, when all of us, except for Justin, because Justin's been down here in Florida since July 29th of 2020, all the rest of us, the children and I, were up in Illinois. And what they were doing was just permanently muting me. Yeah. So I could not defend myself or my children in any way, shape, or form.
So the judge yesterday, keeps trying to mute Heather. Heather unmutes, and then the judge tries to mute her again, and then Heather's just trying to. Heather had a pre-prepared statement that she was going to read, but it was very clear from like the first moment they called her that the judge really had no interest in allowing Heather to participate in any meaningful fashion. So after a couple rounds of the judge muting Heather and then Heather unmuting herself, then they booted her back out to the waiting room. So it's like they kicked her out. If you were in the courtroom physically, they said go sit in the hallway. And then,
but trampling all over my First Amendment rights for 5 years.
Then they called you back in, into the Zoom. The judge, I think, was asking, why you're not there in person. Are you willing to come in person? And at that point, you were just done. They had already made you wait over an hour.
Yeah.
They've been pulling the sketchy stuff. You were
Why
basically
was it so important that I be in person?
You were basically in a full-blown panic attack.
Yeah. Why was it so important that I was in person, but Justin didn't have to be in person, nor did he have to be in the Zoom? He was nowhere to be found.
Again, at this point, Heather is in a full-blown panic attack.
And that's all on the video. Everybody will see it once I post it, once I edit it.
When Heather gets into one of these panic attacks, it's
fight or flight syndrome.
It's fight or flight, and she's basically in fight mode. Mm-hmm. She has no real sense of what's really happening in the moment.
No, you become a shell of who you truly are, and you go into survival mode. And anybody that's ever been in a real panic attack understands exactly what I'm describing right now. You go into survival mode, and you're struggling to even breathe, let alone be able to control your emotions, control your thoughts, your feelings, what comes out of your mouth, your body movements. It becomes so freezing that you don't even realize where you're physically at. That's how bad it gets for me.
And what's scary as an outsider looking in at this is twofold. One, I'm sitting there in the room and I can see Heather's in a full-blown panic attack, but there's not anything I can do really in the moment.
Right.
Especially, in the middle of this stupid court hearing.
Right.
What's frustrating too is, I know this case like the back of my hand at this point. This has been over 2 years that I've been with Heather, that, I've seen what's gotten filed. We've gone through start to finish all of her emails. I mean, we spend weeks. Yeah. Heather had me spend weeks just going through all of her emails from when this first started.
In 2020, 2021.
Actually, some of it before this even started.
Yeah.
Because some of the emails from your ex-mother-in-law.
Yeah, you were reading emails from 2019.
What's frustrating is, I want so bad to be able to just step in front of the camera and explain things to the judge, but I'm not an attorney, so I'm not allowed to.
No, I could have called you as a witness, but she wouldn't even let me talk, so she definitely wouldn't have let you talk.
So, anyways, the way everything finished yesterday, now it may seem like we're disappointed, but we're actually not. This was actually, the actual result was actually one of our planned.
It was what we were actually hoping for. It was
one of the few scenarios where we could actually count it as a win. And it's going to sound a little weird, but let me explain. So, yesterday, the judge did file and basically dismissed your fee waiver. Filing. Yeah. So that's the only thing we got yesterday afternoon.
Well, and it was a blatant lie on the reason she denied it too. She literally made it seem like I never even showed up. Ms. Bendel failed to appear in court with the required documents, and she would not answer the court's questions. I failed to appear in court, but I'm failing. That's a contradiction. I'm not there, but I'm there and not answering questions. No, the fact of the matter is, she was and you will all get to see this in the moment, start to finish, once I finish editing that video and post it for the world to see. And my point of view, my POV, where she would not even let me talk when she was demanding to know why I wasn't in person.
Yeah, and we've said this before.
Why are we so obsessed with why I'm not in person?
We've said this before in the prior hearing back in September. The judge would ask Heather a question, and then as Heather's trying to answer, mute. Don't interrupt the court. Don't interrupt the court. Don't interrupt the court.
Making it appear as if I'm being aggressive, but she's literally the one trampling on my due process and First Amendment rights.
How can you ask a question and then not give the person even 10 seconds to answer and then tell them that they're interrupting the court?
That would be due process.
And basically this similar thing happened yesterday. So ultimately what happened, again, the Heather, the judge puts Heather in the waiting room of the Zoom, and we sort of don't know what the outcome is. Today, there was a court order filed.
I was never actually served it with it.
Never properly served.
Never served. I only know about it because I logged into my docket.
Okay, so in the hearing yesterday, I did mention there was a few things I heard that came out of the judge's mouth that just sort of like melt my mind. One of them the judge says, we don't have to serve you. Because Heather was basically pointing out, like, she's never been properly served with anything from this court. And the judge is like, oh, we don't have to serve you. That's not our job.
It's on the video. Once you guys have access to it, you'll be able to see her saying that. I don't have to serve you. And then when I question her about why she never swore me in, but she swore in the previous citizen.
Oh, we don't have to swear you in.
That was with Will Treveras.
The same attorney for Justin.
I don't have to swear you in. Excuse me?
So
you literally just swore in someone else right in front of me.
I mean, it's crazy stuff. So ultimately, the final order from the court. Now, this order seemingly seems to close the Illinois Circuit 19 case, which is fine.
Yeah.
Because
we want it closed.
Not only do we want it here. So here's the thing. When we first, here in Florida, when Heather first retained attorney Rick Brown, he made a comment after the initial review of the case. He said, this case is not going to get decided in circuit court. This is going to appeals. Okay. No matter what, this case is going to appellate court. And with that, I mean, we both here in Florida Circuit 7, as well as what I have witnessed Illinois Circuit 19 doing, it's been clear Illinois Circuit 19 has no interest in doing the right and legal thing.
No,
now, the laws
they're
are
protecting their illegal
the laws and statutes are very clear in Illinois. Very clear. There's no ambiguity in this. And when you actually look at the actual statutes and look at Heather's case, Heather's 100% right in her assertions. Now, so the judge yesterday, she dismissed Heather's petition for relief with prejudice.
Yeah.
Now, what that means legally is it is a final and appealable order.
Yep.
Had the judge dismissed it without prejudice,
it's not appealable.
Heather would still be stuck in Illinois Circuit 19. But couple things to note on this. One of the reasons they dismissed it is because they were basically saying they didn't have jurisdiction. Yeah. Which is
that's
the
my whole
point.
argument. You didn't have jurisdiction to sign the April 27, 2022 order.
But here,
dumbasses.
But not only that, they beyond the jurisdictional arguments that the court tried to make, and it's not really part of the done and ordered section. It's just some other facts that they put in, like, oh, there was a UCCJEA hearing with Judge Warren in Florida where Illinois relinquished all jurisdiction over the case.
Why don't we get this up on the screen for all of them to see
so
while
we've got
we're
a
discussing it?
New little trick here, and you should still be able to hear us. And yep, we still have volume. So that's the Facebook Live.
Jim
Here we
just
go.
said Jim is in Illinois. I have been told they do not have to serve you by a judge also. Must be a new law they want to abide by.
But
we'll research that. Jim, we're researchers.
How does
we'll look into
due
that.
process work if the court can just sit there and say, we can file orders, but we don't have to tell you, and then we'll hold you responsible for them? I mean, that's the logic that they're trying to go with here.
That.
So what you see on the screen, if you're on the YouTube watching the video or the Facebook Live video right now, this is actual Heather's case docket in Illinois Circuit 19. Again, we have some new toys here, so we can pull up the record here. Now, I want to show you, because anybody that's been in family court, this looks like a lot of stuff, but if you've actually been in family court, you know this is not a lot. Started back August 4th of 2020.
And
this is when Heather originally filed to modify her divorce and parenting agreement.
Yep.
Within 2 months of that.
So so originally my divorce attorney, Dennis Gravel of Gurnee, Illinois, started it August 4th. And then our first hearing was on Ariana's birthday, September 15th. So up there, September 15th, that was the very first hearing. Justin showed up, see that appearance? September 14th.
The day
Justin
before.
showed up the day before hiring an attorney, and then Katz Goldstein Warren came in on September 15th.
And that's
Your
the
Honor,
same,
my client just hired me yesterday.
And that's the same.
So look how
law
long
firm.
they had.
So
August 4th
to
September 14th.
Now, here's
that's
the thing.
how long they took to hire
is,
an attorney.
This is the
That was intentional.
same law firm that is that was currently represented Justin in the action yesterday, but a different attorney.
Yep.
So it's a different attorney. They'd have to file their own appearance as a new attorney. You can't just go by the law firm. So I do want to point that out. And if we go up, basically,
It was
2020, it was a lot of continuances.
So it was continued to October 30th because Justin brought in Katz Goldstein Warren on September 14th, less than 24 hours before the hearing. And Ariana and Tommy actually witnessed that September 15th hearing and saw what their father did to us. And they were not happy. So it was continued to October 30th. And what did we say was the date they kidnapped my children?
October 8th.
Uh-huh.
So
somebody tell me
all
that
of
is
these,
not kidnapping.
Basically, all of these orders and notices that happened in 2021, for the most part, were just more continuances because the juvenile proceedings were still ongoing at that point.
So everything in family court got put on a back burner.
Juvenile proceedings basically ended December of 21.
Yes, so the younger three, it was closed out December 14th of 2021. I know because I was there. I was physically in Florida when it occurred, and that's the whole reason why Morosin closed it out. All parties are now in Florida. Illinois does not have jurisdiction, therefore we're closing it out. And then Ariana's dependency case was closed out December 28th of 2023.
Okay, so then we get to April 27th, 2022. This is the actual original order that Heather had filed the petition for relief from. So this, I want to show everybody.
This happened without my presence,
this is,
without my knowledge.
I know Heather has posted this in links before, but for people watching the video, I want to show this to you. We'll pull it up here. So this is 3 pages.
This is how Justin Serlick has been hiding my children for 4 years
modify
now.
the party's parenting arrangement and for other relief, blah, 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 blah. Hereby ordered Justin's allocated sole parental responsibilities, including sole decision-making for CSBSTS.
Custody.
As defined by section blah, blah, blah of the Illinois Dissolution of Marriage Act, including decisions related to children's education, healthcare, extracurricular activities, and religion. Justin is allocated 100% of the regular parenting time, vacation time, holiday parenting time, special occasion parenting time with CSBSTS. Children may continue to reside with Justin in Florida, where they were placed following termination of juvenile proceedings. In light of DCF's...
Now, hang on. You just said it.
Oh.
Following termination, they were placed in Florida before that case was closed.
Yes. They had, at the time of this order...
They manipulate all of the words in all of these documents, and here I am calling them out on the manipulation.
At the time of this order in April, the children had already been in Florida for more than 6 months, which is the UCCJEA threshold.
Now, the word following means it happened after the fact.
But
now, they were shipped down here like property before the fact.
You've got email showing the exact day and practically moment that they were dropped off here in Florida. Okay, so basically, Justin gets 100% time. Ariana was still in Illinois in foster care because she was refusing to come to Florida.
To live with her father, Justin Serlick.
So there was no allocation of any time or responsibilities for Ariana at the time. Issue of parenting time between or contact between Heather and the minor children is reserved. Legally, the legal term for reserved means the court is just not making a decision at this time. Now, here's something important to note about Illinois law, and this will come up in the appeal. Illinois family law courts are not actually permitted to issue an order like this that leaves a parent's parenting time up in the air,
in limbo,
and closing the case.
I'm in purgatory. I'm in limbo.
It is actually against Illinois state law for the court to issue this order the way they did. Okay. It goes on to say then now that Heather shall pay Justin $785 a month child support for the 3 youngest children. And
how did we figure out where that $785 came from? Where did they pull it?
In looking at Justin, the one financial affidavit Justin filed back in 2021, there was basically an expenditure line. He claimed that's what he was spending on the children.
$400 a month in entertainment. Ariana, Tommy, Bianca, and Charlie, someday I would love to know what that $400 a month in entertainment was going to, because I've been hearing all you do is sit in your room and play video games.
But again, I want to know, like this, here's the crazy part. They're saying Heather has no contact or time with her children, but she has to pay almost $1,000 a month to Justin. Like it's just
based on expenditures, not on the financial affidavits. Based on expenditures.
This is not even full 3 pages.
Nope.
Okay. And
do you see a certificate of service on it?
Basically closed it out. Scroll down here. No, there's nothing. It's blank. There's no certificate of service. So there's no proof that this was ever served to Heather. And this is the filed court document. So, even Illinois law says there has to be a certificate of service. You have to say how it was served, because it has to be on the record.
Yeah.
And there's nothing. This is the actual docket, the actual file in the docket, and you have a stamped judge's signature that we believe is Marnie Slavin.
Yeah. So
don't have to get into the detail.
Yeah,
It'll go on
Marnie
too far.
Slavin was silently moved off of family law about 6 months after she supposedly signed this.
Which is interesting because your judge
Upchurch
here in Florida just got
silently removed from family law.
So that was, here's Heather's court docket again. That was April 27th of 2022.
Yep.
The rest
and
of this,
in August 2023 is when I hired Mary Jane Nettles to open a case down here in Florida, because it's Florida's problem, as Judge Morosin quite literally said.
September 3rd, 2024, this was the Florida courts finally starting to pretend to do what they're supposed to and contacting the Illinois courts after more than a year of an open case in
August
Florida.
7th of 2023 is when I opened my case here in Florida Circuit 7.
So it took Florida Circuit 7 court more than a year to reach out to Illinois to try to decide jurisdiction.
Mary Jane didn't do it. My second attorney, Rick Brown, organized this.
And all this really is just
a bunch of lies.
A filing
it's all manipulated.
That says there was a UCCJEA conference. But a lot of this is not accurate. The time is not accurate.
It also says that the children were granted full custody. Justin was granted full custody before they moved to Florida or something like that. What was the words exactly? Awarded 100% parent time. The children were placed with them. See, right here. Here we go again. Mr. Serlick was awarded 100% parenting time, and the children were placed with him in Florida.
But that's not what happened.
They were placed with him in Florida way before this. So August 13th of 2021 is when they arrived in Florida.
Yeah, this makes it seem like the kids were still in Illinois when the April 27th order was issued, and they were not.
Yep.
In fact, the only person in Illinois at the time was Ariana, because she was in foster care. But Heather, Justin, and the 3 minor children who were subject of this order were all in Florida, and all in Florida for more than 6 months.
Yeah. And by the time that April 27, 2022 order was signed, I already had Florida driver's license. I converted my driver's license February 8th of 2022.
Basically, and that was just for the record to document that there was this hearing between the 2 of the judges in Illinois and the judge in Florida. And then this was that June fee waiver. This is when Heather was trying to get a certified copy of her docket. So this is the June. Heather filed it on June 11th, and you see June 12th. The hearing, like less than 24 hours.
Here's the interesting thing. It literally says on the application for fee waiver, it literally says, I don't know if it's going to say it on this one, probably not, because this is the order, not the application. But it says on there, please give up to 1 week to get in front of a judge for the fee waiver.
It shocked us when we got this email that the same day
they're trying to get me in front of a judge to talk about it.
So that was basically in June, and then you see July, Heather filed her appearance. So look, I told you Heather had to file her own appearance in her own case. This is it. Plaintiff petitioner Heather Louise Bendel against Justin Serlick. Appearance. I do not have a lawyer. I'm entering my own appearance in this case with appearance form, and I'm telling the court that I am participating in this case. So Heather had to do this, but Justin's attorney doesn't have to have one of these on the docket, because remember, so this is, where'd we go? Here's Heather's appearance.
Yep.
Now I'm going to scroll up. Do you see any other appearances anywhere here at all?
Well,
no.
Go a little bit slower so they can see.
Sorry.
So go from my appearance,
which is highlighted in blue.
Yep.
Application, notice of motion.
Wait a minute. What is that August 11th? Did they finally put it in? Because I kept calling them out on their bullshit. Yes, they did. That was not there a few days ago.
No.
So you guys are literally witnessing us in real time, finding things appearing in my docket. So that was the originally in my 13D981 only.
They copied this over. So this is when it was filed in the other case.
Yep.
August 11th.
Yep. Because he emailed me that.
So here's the thing.
But it wasn't in my case on September 2nd when I called them out on it.
20F422 is the open case.
Is the correct
13D981 is the old case.
That's the divorce case. Has nothing to do with that April 27th order.
When you put it on here in this order, the common sense would be you'd file it in the first one you're listing, right?
Yeah.
So this was definitely copied over from the other case and just dumped in here.
Because the September 2nd hearing, I was still very firm on saying, where the hell is his appearance in this docket?
It wasn't there.
It was not there. And now you guys are seeing it. So docket manipulation has been happening this whole time. I've been calling it out on my podcast episodes.
Wait. Look at this. So this was July 16th.
That's mine.
Oh, that's
yours?
Mine. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, because everything was filed July 16th.
So July 16th. And then this one, August 11th, this was basically slid in and backdated because it wasn't there. We have a printout of the entire thing.
Oh,
yeah. Order communication from Miss Bendel. This was your...
This is him typing that up.
Oh, yeah.
And serving it to me, which he didn't actually technically serve.
He emailed it.
He literally emailed me and said, we know you have access to your docket. You can look for it there. That's not proper service, sir.
So, but then again, you'll see, basically, this is just when Heather, is moving through the motions to get her order or petition for relief signed or filed. Here's you have Justin's attorney filing the motion to dismiss. Heather immediately filed a response to it.
And then that's the September 2nd hearing,
mind you,
which was the status hearing on Justin's birthday. Yeah. I chose that on purpose.
So, mind you, this response that Heather filed was not even considered by the judge based on her order, which that by itself is
all
actually
of it's
a violation.
been completely ignored.
Ultimately, you get in. Heather again filed.
So the motion, the emergency motion was me requesting ADA accommodations to be remote because these people are my abusers, and I have federally protected ADA rights as someone with complex PTSD because of this court and what they have done to my children and I for 5 years. They literally kidnapped them, trafficked them in the state of Illinois, and then sold them to the non-custodial
So here's ultimately
so they're capable of anything.
What the clerk or what the judge ruled. So this was this filed by will or prepared by will? Probably. Yes, it was. So
and it's so scattered. It is so unorganized. It looks like shit.
Yeah.
I would never file something this crappy as a writer.
Couple things to point out. Now, this is, if you notice, because we pointed this out before, so I'm just showing everybody now. Most of this is written with Times New Roman font, and then you get these weird sections of Arial font. So this is somebody else going in and adding. Now, the matter was called at 10:19 a.m. because Miss Bendel did not appear in the Zoom waiting room until 10:10 a.m.
Our security camera proves otherwise.
Well, no, but
you're sitting there for almost an hour.
Those times aren't even right.
No, I know. None of it's right because they're making up their own damn shit.
I mean, it was... Yeah, I don't know.
No,
so
no. Hang on.
The time zone.
Yes, so that it would have been 10:19 because it was around 10:15, 11:15 Eastern. So yeah, that is correct. But how they're wording it is completely wrong. They did not allow me into the Zoom until that time.
I mean, Heather was...
I have video proof that I was
sitting
sitting
in the
there
Zoom waiting
and
room
sitting there
for
and
over
sitting
an hour.
there.
All right. Basically, this is just the what happened. Heather October 1st, Heather filed a verified motion for emergency relief and or cause to vacate conflicting orders and grant ADA accommodation. So this is the court acknowledging Heather requested ADA accommodations.
Yeah.
And they're denying it for a number of reasons. Now, I want to go back to the beginning of this podcast when we were talking about the first thing you filed, how they were like kicking it around for a week because of all these little things.
Yep. Because they were trying to deny me access to the courts, which is part of our First Amendment rights.
Couple things I want to point out here.
Access to the courts.
Petitioner failed to notice said emergency motion for hearing in violation. I believe you did file a notice of emergency hearing, didn't you? I don't know. They did kick back for several things. Failed to appear in person for said motion in violation of courtroom 105. See, anytime it says C105, that's the judge making up their own rules.
Yep. Judge Jacqueline Melius. And she is hideous.
Petitioner failed to provide courtesy copies in advance of any hearing to the court as required by a local rule. The court didn't provide Heather a courtesy copy of the conflicting order. So
I don't even know what they're talking about because I served Justin and Will Traberis and the entire law firm in multiple ways. I e-served them and I emailed them to pleadings at KG Law or whatever the hell it is.
And a copy went to some clerk of the court's address.
Pleadings at KGWlaw.com.
It's like they wanted you to have hand-printed Xeroxed copies to personally hand to the judge, which is just insane.
Mm-hmm. And then look how shit's crossed out.
Petitioner failed to provide an affidavit as required by local rule. That's 100% not accurate.
It's literally in there.
You had the clerk of the court refused to accept it until you added the affidavit.
And you can see that it's in there.
I freaking notarized the damn thing. I know it was there.
How did you notarize it?
While I was in the hospital on the hospital bed.
Literally drove the freaking affidavit to the hospital with your notary stamp.
So that I could actually notarize and sign it the right way. So,
guys, everyone in Lake County, Illinois, this is where your tax money is going.
Here's where some of the stuff.
Don't you love paying them to do this shit?
Again, here's where some of the stuff is not accurate. Upon seeing the petitioner was only present via Zoom, this court asked repeatedly if like a new hearing date so she could appear in court in person as required by JDM. JDM is Judge Jacqueline D. Melius. So basically, this is just as required by the judge. And only the judge.
Yeah. Not Illinois Supreme Court law. She apparently is the law.
Not sure why this part is petitioner would appear in person today or she would ever appear in person. And I'm not sure why that's crossed out.
Because they finally let me into the Zoom. They were hoping I would just never show in the Zoom. Petitioner responded that she sees this court as an abuser, which is absolutely correct.
Hold on.
Who the hell
You're getting ahead. The court advised that it would enter and continue today's hearing to a date more convenient. That never happened.
No. No. Well, she kept saying, when can you come in person? And I just kept repeating, you are my abusers. I do not feel safe and comfortable being in that courthouse.
Well, you also explained you don't have
literally kidnapped my children and trafficked them.
But then you also explained you're a public school teacher here in Florida and you don't have funds to just up and fly up there.
Right.
When it's perfectly capable of having
a fee waiver, but they expect me to pay for a flight, lodging, Uber.
Again, as Heather was saying before, petitioner responded that she sees this court as an abuser and that Chicago is a war zone. First of all, Heather never used the word war zone.
I said civil unrest.
Because when you watch any of the national news,
the National
we're down
Guard
here in Florida,
is taking
National
over Chicago
Guard
right now.
and a bunch of federal agents are dropping out of Black Hawk helicopters onto buildings. They just shot a priest in the head.
Trump is dealing with all the illegal immigrants in our sanctuary city that is quite literally turned Chicago into a war zone, but I didn't use those words.
No, not only did you not use that, one of the other things that you did say is that you are also concerned for your safety because of the government shutdown and the air traffic controllers not showing up to work.
Yeah. She didn't care. Did not care. She had no intention of letting me even speak.
Now, here's where... Due to continued abuse of the Zoom meeting software by petitioner, what the judge is saying is because Heather kept unmuting herself because the court is too damn stupid to use the actual tools in Zoom to mute everybody.
But I know they know how to do it because that's how they kidnapped my children. Permanent mute.
The order was entered, the September 2nd order at 3:12 was entered by this court requiring that the petitioner be present in person and that her Zoom privileges being reviewed and revoked for purposes of and all hearings. Now, again, at that September hearing, the hearing ended with Heather being allowed to participate via Zoom.
Yep. What happened between then and this order?
Nothing happened between that hearing and the court changing their mind.
Yep.
Okay.
And then it just magically appears in a blank email from Iris Salcido in the Illinois Circuit 19 clerk's office. Now, completely blank, no subject line. And that's all going to be evidence in my Illinois Supreme Court and U.S. District Court cases.
This line here, line D, September 3rd, 2024, Judge Warren in Volusia County, Florida, conducted UCCJEA conference to determine jurisdiction of the matter, providing pertinent what follows. Number 4, state of Illinois relinquishes jurisdiction to hear cases as is not the home state. Well, that exactly. However, here's the thing.
Florida had jurisdiction as of February 2022.
Here's the thing. And, we can pull up Heather's actual petition at some point, but the reason Heather filed in Illinois Circuit 19 is because Illinois Circuit 19 was the original court that issued the April 27th order. They are the only court that can actually fully vacate the order if it was wrong, which it is. But this is the court. This order here that we're looking at now from yesterday is the Illinois Circuit 19 court refusing to take responsibility. They're saying no parties, nobody acting as a parent nor the minor children in this matter currently reside in Illinois. So they're trying to say, presently, as of today, Illinois does not have jurisdiction over the matter. However, the point of Heather's petition for relief was not to try to relitigate the custodial issues. The point was to prove that the April 27th order was void.
It's void ab initio.
The court retains limited jurisdiction simply to vacate the order that they issued. So we were never arguing that they had any jurisdiction to amend the parenting agreement, to grant custody.
None of that. Everybody do us a favor and Google 735 ILCS. Actually, scroll to it.
It won't let me highlight, but right.
7, that very bottom line, that very first Illinois statute, that is an Illinois Supreme Court statute. ILCS 5/2-1401F. Google that and look what it says.
You can request courts to vacate orders that are void at any freaking time. Yep. There's no time limit.
There doesn't need to be jurisdiction. All it needs to be is that court signed it at some point, and if it's proven that it is void, which it absolutely is for a multitude of reasons, now that court has limited jurisdiction to deal with it and vacate.
So now,
but why would they? The Serlicks paid them for that 3-page order.
The respondent's 2-count motion to dismiss the petitioner is verified. So this is basically Justin's 2-count motion to dismiss Heather's petition for void judgment, declaratory relief, and lack of jurisdiction and due process. And other relief is hereby granted on both counts. So basically they said both of Justin's accounts, which Justin's attorney was arguing that they didn't have jurisdiction. They were also arguing, I think the second count was that your filing was frivolous.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're trying to get more money out of me. They're trying to bleed me to death.
Here's the thing.
As if I have money right now.
Here's the crazy thing.
I have none.
If you look up the laws, this is the crazy part. If they're sitting there saying that they don't have jurisdiction over this matter, they also do not have jurisdiction to issue sanctions or any monetary penalties, because that is modifying the order.
Yeah.
So they're trying to do it both ways, and there's no...
They want their cake in the
line number 3, the court expressly reserves the issue of sanctions related to the filing of the petitioner's proceedings in this matter. But then number 4, the matter is off call, meaning they basically closed it, because that's the matter is off call is what was also in the April 27th order, which the Volusia County clerk or the Volusia County courts seem to think that mean, or not the courts necessarily, but Justin's attorney, Serena Baldacchino, used that line as the case was closed permanently.
Nothing is ever closed permanently in courts.
Here's the thing, right? It was dismissed. Where'd it go?
Dismissed with prejudice.
Okay. now that the judge has dismissed this with prejudice, we do not have to file a motion for reconsideration in Illinois Circuit 19. Here's the thing. We never expected to get any positive relief from Illinois Circuit 19.
These people kidnapped my children, literally took their cell phones away and gave them back to me, so I couldn't communicate in any way, shape, or form. I lost any and all contact with them. I had no clue where they were at. They could have been in Florida the whole time for all I know.
The judge filing with prejudice basically means they're blocking Heather from ever filing this same petition for relief in Illinois Circuit 19.
Awesome. Thank you. That's what I wanted.
Heather now gets to go directly to Illinois Appellate Court.
Yep.
Does not have to pass, or you get to skip past go, collect $200, whatever.
So it's going to be Illinois 2nd District Court of Appeals in Elgin, Illinois.
When I say this was one
Gets
of our...
the hell out of Waukegan.
When I said at the beginning, basically the results were a win for us. There were really only 2 wins that could have possibly happened. One,
they vacated.
A miracle could have happened, and the judge could have actually read the Heather's petition, read Heather's response to the motion to dismiss,
not be a nasty old hag,
and actually
just
do
wait
the right
until you
thing.
guys see what she looks like in the video.
They could have done the right thing, but they didn't. The next best thing was exactly what happened. So we'll go to the Illinois Appellate Court.
Yep.
Here's the thing about appellate courts. The good thing, and we've seen this here in District 5 in Florida.
As a writer, I really like appellate court.
Appellate court, in most cases, you actually do not have to appear in person in front of the judges, so that you take that off the table. You take that oral argument off the table. Now they can in some cases request you to provide oral arguments, but for the most part, the appellate court is actually looking at the law, looking at the record, and making a decision. So, in this case, the law is on Heather's side. When you actually go through and break it down. So, our next step in Illinois is Heather will be filing a notice of appeal.
Yep.
And getting into appellate court.
Yep.
And then proceeding forward that way.
Yep. And I also will be filing into Illinois Supreme Court as a direct filing, a writ. And they have no clue that this is, when I saw this, and how they worded things.
So you got this order today. You actually did something. You uploaded it to try to get some explanation for some of this, because it's
all over the place.
Yeah. What are some of the things?
Whoever wrote this is not a good writer. It is all over the place.
What are some of the things that the
so I ran it
Matrix
through my
out
AI, because that's the new technology for us pro se litigants to help us and assist us, and that's the beauty of AI. It becomes like your own personal assistant. So I uploaded this order into ChatGPT, and I said, give me a breakdown of this order attached. And it says, what was the issue? You, petitioner Heather Bendel, filed a verified petition for relief and void judgment and or declaratory relief under 735 ILCS 5/2-1401F. Your core claim was that prior orders were void due to lack of jurisdiction and due process violations. Yes, ChatGPT, you are correct. Number 2, what did the court consider? Instead of addressing the merits of your jurisdictional or due process claims, the court focused on your failure to appear in person for the hearing on your petition. That's number 1. They obsessed over that. Your refusal to appear even after the court offered a different in-person date. If I didn't feel comfortable going yesterday, why the hell would I feel comfortable going at a future date? Give me a damn break. A pending Zoom ban stemming from a prior order issued on September 2nd, 2025. Procedural defects in your emergency motion for ADA/Zoom accommodations not properly noticed for hearing, lack of affidavit, which is absolutely false, and no courtesy copies submitted, which is also false. Number 3, what did the court do? Dismissed your emergency motion requesting Zoom ADA accommodations, stricken instantly without hearing or further argument, granted respondent's motion to dismiss your 2-1401 petition, dismissed with prejudice under both 2615A, failure to state a claim, and 2619, affirmative defenses. No findings were made on the legal merits of your claims about the void judgments or lack of jurisdiction.
Which by itself is a due process violation. Heather filed responses, and the court is required to consider her written responses. Just because she didn't appear in person doesn't mean they can completely ignore her written responses.
They're ignoring them like it doesn't even exist. And that's where appellate court and Illinois Supreme Court is going to come in. Now, sanctions reserved. The court reserved the right to sanction you for filing what may consider improper or frivolous pleadings. Key legal and strategic implications. You can appeal this dismissal. It is a final appealable order under Rule 301.
Which, again, that was a win for us.
Yep.
It was
exactly what I wanted. I wanted out of the corrupt court that kidnapped my children and sold them.
It saved us from having to refile a motion for reconsideration again in Illinois Circuit 19 with the same damn judge.
Yeah. Jurisdictional arguments, void judgments cannot be dismissed on procedural posture alone.
Meaning they can't just say, well, you weren't here, you didn't follow all of the court rules, so we're just going to dismiss this right now.
Right.
They can't do that.
Your ADA request for reasonable accommodation was not addressed substantially.
Federal lawsuit.
Bingo. ADA, federal law.
So
they just keep digging those federal violations deeper and deeper.
So
I'm going to have fun in U.S. District Court with this.
So that sort of gets us through the actual hearing yesterday. Now, after the hearing, I mean, I fully support Heather. I beyond 100%, if I could, I support her every possible way I can. So when Heather has these hearings, if I'm able to, I do take off work so I can be here with her for the hearing or go to court with her. This hearing yesterday, I mean, before they actually brought her into the actual courtroom, Heather was in a panic mode while we were just, in the Zoom waiting room.
Well, I was trying to keep myself calm by talking about the story,
trying to stay
building
distracted.
up the backstory.
You were trying to stay distracted.
Documenting.
And we'll post that whole video.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be up for evidence to expose this.
Heather, when she says she's editing, she's just cutting out some of the blank space.
Well, I'm mostly cutting out because there were other citizens, and they were talking about minor children. So obviously, as a mother, that was a mother there with Will Traberas, so I'm going to respect that mother's right to privacy, so that will all be cropped out. But there was some dead air at the beginning because we weren't sure what was going on, and that was before I started narrating.
But then after in the middle of the actual hearing, it was very clear Heather is in a full-blown fight or flight panic attack, in fight mode. And unfortunately at that moment in the middle of the hearing, there's not much I can do. So once the hearing concluded, the way to help bring Heather out of these panic attacks is really just, physical comfort, holding her tight, calmly talking to her, and then just needing time to process what happened. Unfortunately, yesterday, shortly after the hearing actually concluded, I did have to go to work because I had an appointment that I had to keep. But Heather, I thought she was going to be okay for the afternoon until I could get back. And I was going to, as soon as I was done with my appointment, come back home.
I probably would have been okay if it wasn't for two men.
Yeah, so this is,
that were verbally abusing me for hours.
We're going to keep it sort of very generic, but I know in the past we have talked about on the online family fraud, court fraud, family court, support groups. There's a lot of different groups out there that have a lot of different figureheads. They all have sort of different missions, different ways they're going about doing things.
Be the bigger bully.
Which
is what I was trying to do yesterday, thinking that person would be there to expose with me. But he never showed.
Yeah, but there's what I have now personally witnessed myself now, at least 3 times, 3 different groups. Mm-hmm. The groups that seem to be focused around a single individual, they all end up devolving and digressing into a cesspool.
It's a bully system.
And
the leader is the biggest bully.
And it's disappointing because one of these guys yesterday I've spoken to personally. Generally, I like his approach to the family court system. That really you have to. The only way to win is ultimately to burn the system down, and what happened yesterday. So Heather for months has been supporting this one group, probably more than any of the other groups
since May,
and
so more than 6 months.
Yesterday, there's a group chat associated with this group. Heather posted in the group basically
I needed help,
asking
support,
for
exposure,
some
like
support,
other
some
people were
recognition.
getting.
Just support in the day that she has a hearing that she's in crisis.
Yeah.
And the response that she got, and I'll be honest, I was shocked listening to some of the recorded voice messages that were sent to her.
Should we play them?
No, now's not the time. I know you have them, but now's not the time. We'll do a separate thing maybe.
People definitely need to hear how this person speaks to volunteers in that group.
It was incredibly disappointing, and obviously, Heather has put so much time and energy into this group. The response shocked her and basically continued to throw her into a downward spiral yesterday.
I was in bed all day crying because of these two men.
I come home.
Not because of the judge. The judge did exactly what I expected her to do. There was nothing different about how that judge ran yesterday's hearing than everything else I was used to in Illinois in 2020 and 2021.
So I came home from work.
Expected that. What I did not expect was what these two men did to me.
I came home from work and got Heather was trying to bring me up to speed, and I basically walk into the house not expecting to find Heather in a worse situation than when I left for work, but she was in
I was in deep hole because
beyond
of
a panic attack. Ultimately, I saw the only real way to resolve the situation. I basically pulled Heather out of the house. I made her put some shoes on, get in the car, and we drove around for a little bit, and then got some food to eat. Drove around a little bit more, took the long way home.
I had a migraine. The whole situation with these two men had me so upset I had a migraine. I rarely get migraines. Once
we got home, I basically told Heather, you're not going on the computer, put your phone down. We're going to sit in the living room, watch some TV or some movies.
I wanted to edit that security camera footage to get that exposed last night, but he wouldn't let me.
It was too much. We both needed a mental break from the day. So
with the voice clips that you listened to, what were your thoughts on how that person was speaking to me as a domestic violence victim and a court victim?
Well, I think the majority of the clips were not from the primary leader of the group, so I want to make that clear.
One of his supposed employees.
But the shocking is really what it was. Basically, you had posted asking for a little bit of help, and the response was,
yourself.
Go make your own chat.
Yourself is what it was, without saying the F word.
Go make your own chat. Don't post your stuff in this chat. We don't want to.
But I was reading about someone else in that same chat for days.
Yeah,
for days, not just a few hours. Again, days. They were talking about someone else's case.
This has happened in other groups. Again, I say the groups devolve. You end up getting so many people in these chats. They want to try to do everything through a single chat. And the chats just get confusing and overloaded, and there's a lot of crap in them. I'll admit that part, and I can understand why leaders of the groups want to try to control the chats and what's posted. But when you have somebody that that you've talked to, and that that person has been fully supporting your program,
advertising, talking about sharing the links constantly. I got myself restricted many times because of this person.
And then that person asks for help, and then the response is,
"Go fuck yourself."
Why are you asking for help? You're wasting all of our time. We don't need this here. Go start your own chat.
Why do you think I'm asking for help? Oh, because I'm seeing you help this person and exposing this courthouse.
Once we boot you out of the chat
and exposing that.
Once we boot you out of the chat, then that same person is going to start messaging you privately to tell you that you are a gaslighting narcissist.
The exact
or
words,
whatever he said.
The exact words. I'll read it to you. Because we're all about truth and transparency, right? Right. So his exact words to me after I messaged him and said, "That is disgusting that you are willing to speak to victims this way. You and the other person, I'm not going to say the name, are on a disgusting power trip." Because there's no other word for what they've been doing. Because I literally logged into a live the other day and caught the very end, and this person was berating and abusing this person on a live video for the whole world to see.
Yeah.
And I was shocked, and it was uncomfortable for me to watch and listen to, and he wasn't even talking to me. So this, his employee messages me back, "Heather, you're only doing what exactly we said you would do in our conversation about your case, dumping in the volunteer chat. You are extremely manipulative, and I hope that you can find the help you need." So,
I mean, it's
gaslighting,
honestly,
Darvo,
there's
narcissism.
There's not much more we need to say about it other than for any of the other.
Be careful, guys.
Any other court victims
careful.
out there, be careful on how much time and energy you put into a lot of these online Facebook support groups.
Would you say that I had at least the main person of that particular project? I had him up on a pedestal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You thought he was actually doing more
I viewed
for family
him
court corruption
as
issues.
a woman, and I'm sure other women view him the same way. I viewed him as a protector.
Yeah.
Okay? I told him at the very beginning, when I first started becoming involved with this, that he was my guardian angel. And I was not exaggerating. I was not, blowing smoke up his ass. I truly felt like he was placed. I've said this many times before. The universe, fate, God, whatever you want to believe in, puts people in our lives for a reason. And I felt like in that moment, he was placed in my life for a very valid reason. And now I know why. But his own trauma is being presented as him abusing us, the victims that he is supposed to be helping and protecting. We are now his punching bag. And that is exactly what I was all day yesterday to him and his employee. I was their verbal punching bag when I was already pretty low, because it was the 5-year anniversary of my children being kidnapped by Illinois Circuit 19. It was the 5-year anniversary of Illinois Circuit 19 putting a gag order on me after they kidnapped my children, so I couldn't even tell my father what had just happened, let alone the Chicago media, which is where I was going to go. And then it was, I'm facing my abusers. I'm facing the people that have been abusing my children and I since October 8th of 2020. Instead of protecting us, they have been abusing us and protecting the actual abuser in the entire situation. So I already had a lot emotionally going on in my head. And for these two men that supposedly are about truth and transparency, literally chose to have me as their verbal punching bag yesterday. And it pushed me pretty deep.
And it was, honestly, overall, just in the grand scheme of
It
things,
heartbroke
more
me.
disappointing than anything else.
It really broke my heart because I truly had very deep respect for this person, and I no longer do.
We are moving on. We're moving forward.
Yep.
We've got your cases to focus on. Mm-hmm. You've got a couple cases in Florida 5th District Court of Appeal.
I've got a new judge.
A new judge in Florida Circuit 7. You're about to have a case in Illinois
Supreme Court
of Appeals.
I'm going to have a case in Illinois District 2 Court of Appeals, and I'm going to have a case in Illinois Supreme
last
Court.
night you and me kind of talked about pulling back from some of these online groups a little bit, not putting your time and energy into them right now.
Not putting so much of my heart into it. That is what really hurt the most. I put a lot of my heart into this person, and he very clearly does not deserve my heart.
So, anyways, we're gonna focus. You still have graduate coursework for your master's program to finish up. You've got your certified paralegal course to finish and take your exam to become a certified paralegal.
Yep.
You're still teaching high school marine biology.
Yes.
So you have to continue to go and teach.
Quarter
You've got
one report cards are due tomorrow. I got to
So,
post grades tomorrow.
But otherwise, that's still going good for you. Other weird things happened that made yesterday kind of even more crazy. Or not yesterday. No, it was Tuesday leading up. So if you can imagine, yesterday was bad enough by itself. Leading up to Tuesday, when Heather goes to leave the high school where she's teaching, the tire pressure light on the van comes on.
Just poof, zero.
And so she pulls into McDonald's parking lot, gets out, looks at now it's happened before where it's come on and we've checked and it was fine. So it was just maybe a bad sensor. Heather looks at the driver's side rear tire and it is
flat.
Just flat.
My rim was on the ground.
Luckily, we had an air compressor. Heather had an air compressor in the van.
Didn't
hooks
work.
it up. Doesn't try to, no air is going in the tire.
Nope.
So luckily where she was at, there happened to be, was it a Midas or a Mavis tires?
Mavis.
So it was Mavis tires and brakes. Was practically across the street. So Heather carefully
literally across the street. I limped my car.
Limped the van over there. They pulled the tire off, and it's one of those things. A lot of these tire stores, you sort of question like, oh, I'm sure they're just going to tell me I need a new tire. They'll tell me, oh, the nail was too close to the sidewall, whatever. No, Heather's in the waiting room, and they call her back.
It's a gash.
And it is. Oh man, do you have the pictures up here? Actually, yeah, you might.
No, not in there.
Oh, no, it would be because you sent them to me. Watch. I'm going to see if I can get the picture pulled up because I want to show this.
It was a crazy gash.
It wasn't loading the chat before, so. Here we go. Scroll up a little bit. Once I get to the photos, I'm just going to expand them and then pull up the desktop. But I mean, these, like, I've run over a lot of stuff with my tires. I've replaced many tires in the 25 plus years I've been driving, almost 30 years that I've had my driver's license. And I've never seen a tire damage like this. Basically, the guys at the service techs at Mavis Tires bring Heather back there and they say, somebody slashed your tire.
Yeah.
And they did it. Apparently, they're seeing this commonly where they're slashing the inside sidewall of the tire.
But when the deputies at the school looked at it, they're like, no, this was not done by a student.
But here's the thing. This happened somewhere between the parking lot and the school and the McDonald's, which is right outside the entrance to the school.
Yeah. So I don't know. They should be right there.
Yeah,
They're there.
So there we go. All right. So here we can pull this up. So you want to see here's the tire. Look at this gash right down. This is the inside sidewall
of the tire.
Something gashed it from the tread almost all the way to the rim. And this white stuff, this is fiber from inside the tire that got pulled out. So whatever this was came from the tread down, pulling out down here and pulled some of the tire
Now,
tire
I
fibers
did not
out.
even consider that this would be a gash until the Mavis techs pulled me back and literally told me to take these photos. This wasn't my choice. They told me to take them.
Yeah.
Because they're right down the road from where I work. So
there you can see the string coming out a little bit. So again, this is
but when we showed it to the deputies on the
down.
Campus today, they said, no, this is not
Yeah. And then
what we believe to be vandalism.
And then unfortunately there's also apparently where Heather's building there's no cameras.
Yeah.
So there really is nothing to go
I've just
by.
never seen anything like this on a tire before, but who knows what could have happened.
But yeah, crazy stuff happening. So all right, we are now at almost an hour and 17 minutes. We do have some comments in the chat. I don't know if you wanted to address any of the comments.
Let's just take a look. We've got Kelly. I already read Jim. My heart breaks for you. I've been fighting for years. Would you stop?
I'm not scrolling. It's this. I think other people are making comments and it's moving on its own.
When or is there any law about abusing the system? We will never get time back. Children need their mother. Absolutely. Children need both of their parents. If their parents are healthy and not abusive.
And here's the
they
thing.
need both parents.
You haven't said in all of this that Justin should have zero contact with the kids ever again.
No,
you're at this point, you're just fighting for any contact yourself.
I literally allowed him as my ex-husband to continue living with us 7 years after we divorced.
So
who the hell does that?
So
I had a guy that I was in love with leave me because Justin would not get out of our personal space. So, that's not normal. No. And so I was so dedicated to making sure that my children had their father full time in their life that I was literally allowing my ex-husband to live with the children and I. So for me to
for 5 years now, you have just been for me to
allow him to continue living with us for 7 years, but then he and his mother manipulate the court system in Illinois to kidnap the children just so they can literally block any and all access by their own choice, not by mine. I have been fighting tooth and nail for 5 years to communicate, speak to my children, help them with their education, help raise them. They will not even allow me to speak to my children on the phone. For all intents and purposes, I might as well be dead because that's what they want. They want me to kill myself so they can continue lying to my children and telling them that I don't want them, and I gave them up for adoption and all this other crazy alienation, It's child psychological abuse is another term for it. Parental alienation, domestic abuse by proxy, child psychological abuse. That is what Justin, Mary, and Ira Serlick are doing to my children. Child psychological abuse. So
now, to finish on a little bit of a more positive note, because there's been, this is... Obviously, you get into the details of some of these cases and just what's going on and the emotion with it. It kind of sucks. Hockey season is back, people.
Yes.
Hockey season is back. Now, unfortunately, my team, the New York Islanders, is currently down 3-4 against the Penguins. They are in the third period with little less than 2 minutes to go.
How are the Hawks doing?
Blackhawks are currently tied 3-3 against Boston.
Bruins.
With about 3 minutes left in the third period. So... yeah, those are our teams.
Hopefully the Chicago Blackhawks do a little better this year.
The Islanders did start the number 1 draft pick this year. They got him. So today was his first official NHL game. So we're going to probably go down and watch. Well, I'm going to watch the replay of the Islanders game. Heather's going to probably immediately go to try to edit this video, at least get it posted. So, again, we appreciate everybody that did watch this. We appreciate everybody that will watch the video when it gets posted on YouTube later. Anybody that listens to the audio podcast, we do encourage you for this podcast specifically to, if you do listen to it, go onto the YouTube video file and watch, because we did show a bunch of stuff on the actual court docket through the magic of this technology studio that we have.
We got to work on our backdrop.
Yeah, we're making some adjustments. Going to get some different pictures. The brick wall was going to be for my podcast, and I've got some other
and it's not wide
lights
enough.
that are. Yeah, we're going to have to make some adjustments here, but we're going to do it. That's it for now. I'm Pete Arnold. I'm here to fully support Heather. I do have my own podcast that we're getting started. Sport Isn't Silent podcast, which tells the stories of family court, partners of family court survivors, basically the husbands, boyfriends, girlfriends, fiancés of the people immediately dealing with family court issues. So these are the people on the sidelines helping to support their partners. And we're going to tell their stories on my podcast.
Yep.
Heather, you've got your podcast.
Yeah. I was just about to say, now that I no longer have to worry about Illinois Circuit 19 abusing me emotionally anymore or verbally anymore, and we're moving into appellate court, I will have more time to dedicate to my podcast, which allows other court victims, other CPS victims to tell their stories. And that is Disrupt the Corrupt, because I am all about disruption. I am all about disrupting these corrupt
I know
appointed officials, elected officials.
We have for several
mess with their
months.
lives.
For several months now, we have been talking about getting these podcasts going. But we will have episodes recorded within the next 2 weeks.
Three different family medical emergencies. His mother, his aunt,
I was
and then
not
him.
planning on having to be stuck in the hospital for almost 2 weeks and have emergency surgery.
Yeah.
And again, I'm still held together with more than a dozen staples.
Life happens.
We're moving on. We're gonna close this out. Have a good night. Go watch some hockey games. Whatever your team is, they're not going to be as good as the Islanders. We're going to win the Stanley Cup this year.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. You have yourself a wonderful night. Bye.